The combat structure of corps, divisions, and brigades are essentially the same, each involving combat arms, combat support, and combat service support entities, with each formation incorporating a command and control element with a commander, staff, and the necessary communications capability, infantry, armor, and artillery units which provide the basis of combat power, engineer, signal, aviation, and intelligence units which contribute to combat power, and organizations that provide medical, dental, supply, transport, maintenance, chaplain, welfare, finance, military police, legal, postal, laundry, bath, decontamination, and replacement support to combat forces. The defensive concept includes a covering force to fight forward of the main defense area, an infantry heavy force with a range of anti-armor weapons to stop and hold the enemy on an obstacle, and an armor heavy mobile force to conduct countermoves. The Corps includes a wide range of skills and equipments. It provides a complete tactical and administrative capability and is the most effective level at which the structure of the system can be established to meet the dictates of the defensive concept. The Corps organizational components include maneuver formations, Corps troops, and administrative commands. Its maneuver formations comprise two mechanized divisions, an armored division, a mechanized brigade group, and an armored cavalry brigade group. Corps troops encompass an artillery division, an engineer brigade, a signals brigade, an intelligence battalion, a tactical aviation group, and a military police battalion. Finally, the administrative commands break down into a service command and a medical command. In the defense, the division may be required to cover a frontage of up to 40 kilometers and to a depth of approximately 80 kilometers. This area provides maneuver space for its combat components and allows for the positioning of its combat support and service support elements. The mechanized division is structured to control ground and destroy the enemy in close combat. Its armored vehicles provide a high degree of tactical mobility and can fight in balance with armored formations. In defensive operations, its functions are to defeat the first echelon of an enemy force and to assist with the destruction of the enemy's second echelon. The combat structure of the mechanized division breaks down into a headquarters and signals regiment, a reconnaissance regiment, 3 mechanized brigades, an artillery brigade, an anti-armor battalion, an engineer group, a tactical aviation wing, an intelligence company, a military police company, a service group, and a medical group. An armored division is organized much like a mechanized division, except that it has 2 armored and 1 mechanized brigade instead of 3 mechanized brigades. The inherent armored protection, mobility, and firepower of the division enable it to operate over a large part of the battle area, conducting aggressive action in all types of operations. Brigades contribute directly to the combat power of the division. The mechanized brigade is made up of a headquarters and signal squadron, 3 mechanized infantry battalions, a tank regiment, an anti-armor squadron, and a point missile air defense battery. An armored brigade is similarly structured, except that it incorporates 2 tank regiments in lieu of 2 of the infantry battalions and does not have an anti-armor squadron. Combat support and combat service support is provided for the brigades from division troops' resources. A brigade group contains a mixture of combat arms, combat support arms, and usually some combat service support elements. It is generally capable of operating independently over long distances to fulfill a variety of tasks, including blocking, counterattacking, and rear area security. Commanders' responsibilities involve the achievement of their missions and providing for the welfare of their troops. The command system is characterized by a single commander who both plans and fights the battle and is responsible for its outcome. He directs the personnel, equipment, and material committed to the task. The force structure and its operational activity must be designed so that it can be handled by one person. At each level, a commander responds to orders and direction received from his higher commander. Tasks are delegated to subordinate commanders and staffs with resources made available to assist them in meeting their responsibilities. Subordinate commanders enjoy freedom of action to plan and conduct their operations, and clear procedures are established for the succession of command. Command is the authority vested in an individual to direct, coordinate, and control military forces. Control is that authority exercised by a commander over part of the activities of a subordinate or organization not normally under his command.
We've also got a quick reaction force.
Command and control involves the continuous exercise of command authority over assigned forces and the uninterrupted use of procedures and activities by a commander in the accomplishment of his mission. The command and control process involves the planning, directing, controlling, and coordinating of operations. Planning initiates the process. It involves the commander's estimate and his subsequent concept of operations, from which the staff develop the detailed plan. The commander's direction is transmitted to subordinates as orders or instructions, stating the tasks, resource allocation, coordination details, and combat service support arrangements. Control ensures the assigned assets are being employed in accordance with the plan, and the activities of one entity are coordinated with those of another to maintain the pace and direction of the operation. The staff provides advice to the commander and support to subordinate commanders. Its tasks involve the collection and analysis of information, detailed completion of plans, preparation of orders and instructions, and monitoring the execution of operations. The staff assists subordinate commanders by coordinating the routine activities and resolving problems within the overall framework of the commander's plan or directions. Staff appointments may be categorized as personal, general, or special appointments. The commander's personal staff directly assist in meeting his individual needs and arranging his work and visit program. The general staff assists the commander with his overall command responsibilities. They are involved in planning, coordinating, and supervising the execution of operations and training, and arranging for the support needed to maintain the pace of operations.
Presently, the stay-behind...
Special staff provide the commander and general staff with advice and assistance in professional or technical areas. They hold specific appointments in the General Staff branch.
Yeah, according to the Geneva Convention. Yeah, that's right. You have to make sure
there are also Arms and Services advisors who, although not classified as members of the staff, play an important role in providing advice and assistance to the commander and the General Staff.
Okay, what sort of coverage have we got for the disc group?
Okay, so
Arms advisors are normally representatives of combat and combat support arms.
We put a section on machete jump.
Commanders of artillery and signal elements are located at the headquarters of the supported formation, while engineer and aviation commanders maintain liaison officers at their supported headquarters.
What have you got from Cora?
The commanders of various units and portions of their staff assume the added responsibility of providing advice on the capability and employment of their resources, both to the formation commander and to the general staff. Service advisors are the commanders of formation combat service support, medical, and military police elements. They normally maintain a continuous presence in the headquarters or detach a full-time liaison representative. The general staff is organized into G1, G2, G3, G4, and G5 branches. The G1 staff is involved with personnel administration, that is, maintaining manpower levels and the efficient employment, discipline, and well-being of the soldier. The G2 staff provides intelligence on the enemy for the planning and conduct of operations.
30 hours.
Okay.
The G3 staff is the preeminent staff branch and is involved in planning, directing, controlling, and coordinating operations and training.
Okay.
We observed engineer vehicles.
The G4 staff assists with arrangements for the logistics aspects of operations, including maintenance, supplies, accommodation, and administrative movement. The G5 staff assist with the development and execution of policies relating to local national authorities and the civilian population. The various staff branches are normally divided into two functional staff divisions. The Operations Division encompasses the G2 and G3 staffs and is headed by the Chief of Staff or the Brigade G3, who are responsible for all staff activities in the headquarters. The G1, G4, and G5 staffs make up the Administration Division, directed by the Assistant Chief of Staff Administration or the Brigade G4. Grouping involves tailoring a force to carry out specific operational tasks and will set out the command relationship within a task-tailored organization. Standard affiliations promote stability. The standardized grouping of units develops and increases combat effectiveness through mutual self-confidence and an understanding of unit procedures. More specifically, affiliations generally involve service battalions working with the same brigade, forward observation officers with the same combat team, tank squadrons with the same battle groups, and engineer troops with the same battalions. The command relationship within a task-tailored group is normally expressed in terms of a unit or element being under command, in support, or in location. Under command carries the meaning of full command for tactical and administrative matters, and is normally used to assign corps or division troops to subordinate formations. At battle group or combat team levels, the meaning becomes tactical without any administrative implications and is applied mainly to reconnaissance, infantry, point air defense elements, armor, and anti-armor. Under command for movement implies a delegation of control only for movement. An element assigned in support of another unit or formation gives the receiving commander the authority to call for and direct its operational capability to accomplish his mission. In support usually applies to artillery, engineers, and tactical aviation elements, command of which is normally retained at the highest practical level. In addition, individuals may be allocated to a particular unit or subunit, such as a FOO to a combat team, or a forward air controller to a battle group, which by their presence indicates the in-support function.
Roger. Charlie 01.
The in-location relationship involves a unit or subunit that is deployed within the area of responsibility of another commander. That commander has no authority to direct the operational activities of that force and must coordinate its needs for real estate, road space for movement, defense, and the like. This term generally pertains to elements such as electronic warfare detachments, communications nodes, area air defense elements, and anti-armor weapons. Operational regrouping often means that certain administrative adjustments must be made to ensure that the units are adequately maintained. Under command for administration involves a complete transfer of responsibility and all that implies. Under command for administration, less certain specific items would be affected when the transfer is of a temporary nature. It signifies a considerable amount of support activity will be required from the gaining formation or unit. Under command for daily maintenance means that a unit is placed under a formation for the daily provision of combat supplies and other immediate stores and services. The relationship is used if the attachment is of short duration and the parent formation retains responsibility for all personnel and logistics matters. A fundamental function underlying decision-making within a formation headquarters is the planning process. This is a procedure for deciding what has to be done and how to do it, incorporating a logical sequence of collective reasoning which leads to the best solution to a problem. This process starts when a commander receives a task or when, on his own initiative, he wishes to prepare for a foreseeable contingency. It is completed when orders issued to subordinate and supporting commanders have been executed. The process consists of 7 steps: receiving or assuming tasks, analysis of the task and definition of the aim, initial concept of operations, staff checks and estimates leading to the final concept of operations, preparation and issue of orders, and controlling the execution of the operation. The first step, receipt of the task, may be by verbal means with confirmation in the form of an operation instruction or by a written operations order. This starts the planning process with the calling in of the Chief of Staff and the issuing of a warning order.
Matter we were discussing.
In the second step, the commander identifies those tasks that are essential to the accomplishment of the mission. He does this by reviewing the higher commander's analysis of enemy intentions and thoroughly understanding his concept of operations. He examines his assigned tasks and identified constraints. The end result is a simple, clear statement of the aim detailing what must be done, along with any limitations regarding time, space, or troops available. During the third step, the commander develops a preliminary concept of operations to formulate a framework for staff checks and provide planning guidance to the staff. He will likely carry out an abbreviated estimate as part of this process. Throughout the fourth step, the various staff branches will check the supportability of the commander's initial concept and recommend modifications. These studies may be structured anywhere from a basic staff check to a wide-ranging estimate and indicate possible courses of action. They normally involve the outline of fire support, engineer, signals, surveillance, intelligence, deception, aviation, and logistics plans required in support of the operation. In Step 5, the staff, armed with the available facts and a knowledge of the feasibility and limitations of various options, can complete the detailed estimate. In Step 6, detailed plans and operations orders are prepared under supervision of the Chief of Staff and approved by the Commander. They are subsequently issued to the appropriate subordinate staffs, formations, and division troop units. In the seventh and last step, the Commander and staff supervise the execution of the operation until it is completed, or until modifications are made due to a change in the aim or the situation. Feedback of information is received through reports and personal observation, which measure whether or not the mission is being accomplished. As the situation changes, refinement of plans and orders takes place, and ongoing decision-making is required. The operational planning process is again repeated, but in a modified form. The Commander is responsible for analyzing his task, defining his aim, and giving the staff planning guidance for a preliminary concept of operations. The staff are then responsible, through staff checks and estimates, to define the options available to the Commander, which will lead to mission accomplishment. The staff must be thorough, honest, objective, and systematic, with a great deal of coordination and dialogue between the various cells throughout the planning process. Staff planning is a current and continuous activity in which the Commander and his staff work as a team. The structure of corps, divisions, and brigades is based on a definition of combat tasks and the matching of the necessary components and supporting functions to suit the overall requirement. The division organization makes the most effective use of corps resources. Its staff structure and capability to tailor forces provides a sustaining capability for long-term operations.